Thank you so very much, Jacques, for allowing me to do this case study with you. And would you mind just starting off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you, Carly, and it'd be my pleasure. My name is Jacques, and I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I have taken part in this tax strategy now and taken advantage of it for about 4 years now. I first came across it through a financial education seminar about 4 years ago. And since then, it's been nothing short of wonderful, to put it that way. It has produced exactly what it originally intended to, and that is to save on my taxes. I've received, for now the 4th year now, pretty close to all my income tax back.
Wow, I mean, obviously you said 4 years now you've been getting all of your income tax back. That must have made a huge change in your life. But do you remember what it was like before you started doing this?
Well, what this has helped in my particular situation the most with is it allowed me to pay off quite a bit of debt that I had accumulated.
And may I ask you, what was it that made you decide to participate in this particular tax shelter?
Yes, it's true that there are many different types, and before this one came to my attention, I was aware of a few other ones. What made this one the most attractive was, number one, the team behind it. So who's managing this, and who brought it about, and who the team, as in who was also marketing and bringing in 2 people, and just the integrity that I found these people have, people who are business people who have a lot riding in their, as far as their own name, and that they would have it, that they also themselves have a team of people of lawyers and accountants and so on, to be able to verify and make sure everything is running smoothly and above the law and exactly as it should be. So that was the number one thing, was the team, people who I could rely upon, who would have all the answers to my questions. And then the second thing was the mission of this particular tax reduction. And in the philanthropic mission behind it, also to help fellow human beings, both here in Canada and in Africa. As well, as the mission and the team, there was the structure of it. I did some of my own due diligence and found it to meet my, the information that I found, and they approached it and presented it really starting with both the risks and versus rewards, and what to expect in the whole process, and to make sure that I was aware of what to expect, and nothing was sugar-coated, so there was nothing saying, oh yeah, nothing, that there'd be no problems, that everything would be running smoothly. Everything was exactly laid out, and it happened. And since then, in the last 4 years, has occurred just as I was told it would be. And the support, and mainly the support that went along with that, has been there. So that's been wonderful.
How much of your tax money did you end up getting back from the CRA?
For 8,046. 0.4% of that, so just under 4,000 is the tax credit that's obtained from that.
Wow, that must be pretty nice to get a check in the mail for almost $4,000 as a tax refund. Not many people get that much back.
Well, and that's just for one unit, of course. Go for multiple, and in order to maximize on the return. Whatever I've paid throughout the year, my income tax, I've gotten all back. Yeah.
What has this extra money allowed you to do?
Well, my personal situation, like I explained earlier, it allowed me to pay off debt. So that's been the biggest thing for me up until until this year. Now I have to give it a bit more thought as to what I'm going to do. That's not going to be the case anymore, and it'll be going definitely towards not towards buying, like Robert Kiyosaki called it, a doodad. So I'm not going to be just spending it on anything. It will be something to increase my financial net worth and some form of investment.
You're starting to make your money finally work for you and not for somebody else. Has there been any other benefits?
So for me, I would say just the empowerment that this education and this process has shown me, has given me, and to be able to, recover these taxes in a fair, legal, correct way, and just to know that there are ways for this to occur, and just by being, first of all, open-minded enough to learn new things, because this is the kind of thing that's not taught in school and that it's not mainstream.
What kind of words of advice would you give to people that, maybe just even considering hearing a little bit more and finding out a little bit more? What would you tell them?
Well, it would be to remain open-minded about this, to trust but verify. I'm thinking back of, when I first heard about this, it wasn't in my first presentation that I got it at all. It took quite a few times for me personally to understand it and to look into it more, and it's been an ongoing process. So my recommendation or my suggestion is to come back if at first it doesn't sound, there's something that doesn't quite jive for you, or you don't quite understand, just come back, and each time that you hear explained again, often there's something that you'll catch on to that you might even not think that was necessarily explained the previous time, but just because there's so much information, it has to be structured in a certain way that for it to be fully compliant, and again, it's something that most of us are not tax experts or lawyers, and the lingo and some of it can be a little overwhelming, but like anything, repetition, just hear it a few times and do some of your own research. So we have nowadays with the internet, there's so much there, and just to be able to look it up. And if there's anything, always ask. Try to get both sides of the story. Sometimes if you come across something that might seem a little negative, then try to get the other side and not to until you hear both sides of the story. That's all. I'm just saying, just to trust it that way.
Wow. Well, thanks very much. That's great advice, Jacques. Well, thank you again for sharing your story with us. And, I think a lot of people would really relate to you. I mean, you're an average Canadian just like me, and, there's so many other average Canadians out there that don't know about this information, but it's always made a huge impact in your life and in mine as well. And, it's exciting to know that we can try and help, and we can try and help, this recession has caused a lot of grief and pain and heartache for a lot of people, but this is, part of the solution to getting out ahead and taking control of one's financial life. And so thank you very much again for sharing your story with us, and I'm sure that you've inspired a lot of other people to take action and just find out more. Like you said, just do your research and decide for yourself. So thank you.
You're welcome.